So this is an interesting video at an interesting time. I've recently made a Facebook announcement about an event that happened to me some years ago. And to summarize, the reactions have not been pleasant. And what's funnier is that it's from people who I never would have ever suspected of betraying me. The first call actually came from, let's just say, a friend's husband. And that followed to my friend. This is after a family member. All really losing their biscuits about me making this post. And I understand their concern. I'm going through court things, legal things, custody things, all with my ex-husband, who just can't quite seem to leave me alone. And that's fine. I got put in jail for it. My family left me there. For that matter, friends left me there. But that's all fine. Because even with that, and coming into contact with many judges, because I had to go to court a lot, my faith is in the judicial system. I'll say that again. My faith is in the judicial system. So, but back to what happened tonight and what is still happening, or what is still happened, or what's still happening now. That's it. Because people are still popping off. It has little to do with the situation, but it has a lot to do with the trust. And it has, well, trust, yes. But what I really have seen is that it has the most to do with truth. What I've learned in the past, I was released from jail September 4th. We're at November 28th today. What I've learned during these months is that people don't like hearing the truth. And sometimes it can come with serious backlash. I've been called a bad mother tonight. I've been told that my lying, cheating, abusive, manipulative, habitually lying, womanizing, physically violent, and physically abusive ex-husband. I've been told that he's a better parent than me. And I don't doubt his parenting. Maybe I should. What I've also been diagnosed with is adult autism. So since August, since my time of ascension, I have discovered truths, because my mind went to a place where I didn't have fear anymore. I had clear logic. And the undercurrents of people's fucked up natures that I always looked past and never really saw, all came to the surface. And I thought the ride was over. But then I ended up in jail. But jail was a beautiful experience. You can hear it in a recording that I made on my SoundCloud channel. same name as this channel. My jail experience, all my experiences have made me stronger. Okay? So that all led me to learning the truths about my own family and even the ways that they cover up lies for each other. And I'll get into those lies in another video later. Lies that have to do with me. But it's not anything about what happened in my childhood. It's not about what's happening now. It's all about truth. First of all, I've been resting very easy with this whole situation. A lot of the excuses that people are giving for coming down on me about lies in their own life, a lot of those excuses come out as pain. A lot of those excuses come out as fury. And excuse me if I'm a little off topic here. I've noticed that pain always leads back to truth. But during this situation, I'll get back on track now. I've been very confident to know that the truth will rise in this situation about my ex-husband, about the custody of my 2 boys, about future relationships. And by the way, I'm still legally married, but only legally, because there has been no marriage for 2 years. But what has been brought to my attention is the separation of church and state. I'll say that again. The separation of church and state. I am only legally married. By the laws of the Bible, I was done being married almost the day that I got married. But I went through, made it. But I just wanted to put that on record. But moving forward with my boys, moving forward with everything, it's nice to know who you're dealing with, even if they're your own family. And I say this because what I've also learned, in addition to the point of this video being about the truth always rising, what I've learned is that it is nice to deal with the best. And it's nice to know who you're dealing with. Because even if they're family, that doesn't mean that you have to continue to accept abuse from your own family. Never once during my arrest or what happened that night, it was brought out. No, it was incorrectly portrayed to officers. And you can look in my eyes because you can see a liar a mile away. You really can. I never once raised my voice during that event. And during that event, I was put on paper by faulty policemen who believed lies and looked at no evidence, asked no real questions, told me about the things I should do and when. I was telling them just take me to jail at that point. I was in there for 10 days. Not so long, but you know, you learn a lot in there. So I was documented as having beaten my ex-husband over the head with a wine bottle drunkenly. I admit, I did pour the wine on his head. And I told the lawyers just last week, I'll take the fall for that. I did that. I poured the wine on his head. It was after hours of badgering and belittling, after months of severe abuse, and a form of kidnapping, because he wouldn't let me leave home unless I really fought. I had to get up. That's what led me to looking at the sun. I talk about that in my one of my other videos. Yeah, I was leaving because I didn't want my boys to see a disgrace of a presentation of a man. No offense, but it's just the truth. No boy should ever have to see, no kid should ever have to witness the abuse of somebody repeatedly. So I would leave and come back before he would leave to go to work. I've been called all kinds of things about that. But coming from somebody who grew up in a very dysfunctional house, full of abuse for many years, I didn't really want them seeing that. So, yeah. But yeah, you don't have to take the abuse of your family members. But back to the police report. There was no swinging. There was no hitting. There was no basically anything. But what I've learned is that people will hold on very tightly to their lies because sometimes they even believe them themselves. But I go back to say, you don't have to take the abuse of your family members. I'm at this point now where I have nothing to prove, nothing to hide. I've been called crazy. I've been believed to be crazy. And through all of this, I've seen that the ones who are the craziest have the most to say. The ones who are the most abusive say the cruelest things. I used to make excuses up for these people. Oh, it's because of their childhood. Oh, they grew up in foster homes. Oh, they had an abusive dad, a raping dad. Their parents were sick. I used to make up a lot of excuses, but then you just get to a point where you're like, fuck that shit. You're at a fucking age where you can make your own decisions and choose to do your best, to say you're sorry. I had to learn all those things. I had to learn a lot. To say I'm still having to really say I'm sorry a lot. So, but what I've noticed is that the most destructive, dangerous people often have the most grasp on people's minds. And it takes a lot. Believe me, it takes a lot to override the own madness that can go on your head because they're stirring up things inside of you and they're trying to get you to be convinced that what they're saying is the truth and it's not. But what I found is that by trusting in God, knowing that the Bible is real and true and living, and this isn't about religion, but what I've learned is that you just take it and just basically without disrespect or even saying it at all, telling them to take their shit and shove it so far up their ass and to go straight to hell. You don't have to say it like that. What I've chosen to do is when I feel that way, I say nothing at all. I try to talk to people. Try. Then you get to a point where there are no more words to say. And I'll leave it at that. Stay tuned. Bye, homies.